Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. Before I begin today, a big thank you to a very lazy tech priest for the virtual gift voucher. Thank you very much, my friend, I really appreciate it. But, on to today. Today we are discussing Roboute Guilliman once again, and his ever-deepening role at the heart of the Ecclesiarchy itself. Oh yes, things are getting very interesting. Spoiler warning to begin, the events we are discussing today are from the Warhammer 40,000 novel Apocalypse by Josh Reynolds. As always, I really recommend you read the novel for yourself first, as that's the best way to enjoy the lore for yourself. Not only that, but we help to support the Great Black Library and Games Workshop, because without them, we don't have this amazing lore to talk about. I will put a link in the description as always. But with that said, let's just jump straight in. Now, as you guys know, I recently read Space Marine Conquest's Apocalypse, a really enjoyable read. Essentially, it follows a Primarch lieutenant named Calder, who is tasked with defending the world of Almace, with the aid of fellow first founding chapters, the Raven Guard and the White Scars. Now, the interesting thing is that this is a cardinal world of the Ecclesiarchy, and Guilliman himself has tasked Calder with defending this world at all costs, which you could say is quite a surprise considering his frosty relationship with the Church. But of course it is still a world of the Imperium. Now, during the novel we find out that the Wordbearers aren't heading to Almace for simple revenge against the Imperium. They want something very specific. And in turn, it becomes apparent to Calder that despite the warm reception from Eamon, the Cardinal Governor, he is very clearly hiding something. Now, Calder's content for Eamon to play his games and keep his secrets. He expected nothing less from the Ecclesiarchy. Content, that is, until it affects his ability to prepare the defence of the city for the coming siege. Spoken like a true Imperial fist. Finally giving Eamon an ultimatum to reveal what you're hiding or I'll do it myself, plus sending a Raven Guard to do a little spying for him. Eamon is given no choice. He leads the Imperial fist to a chamber deep within the city. The bulkhead hissed open, releasing a gust of chill, stale air. Ancient recyclers kicked on, stirring the atmosphere. Calder followed Eamon into the dimly lit chamber, his auto senses immediately registering a towering presence to his left. He turned, hand falling automatically to his sidearm. "You wanted to see what I have been hiding," Eamon said. "Here he is, Lieutenant Calder. Meet the Anchorite." "Welcome." The voice was at once awful and comforting. Calder paused, hand on his weapon, as the Anchorite, huge and monstrous, stepped into the light. The ancient Contemptor dreadnought was a towering presence, bipedal and hulking, with only the basest resemblance to a human shape. A giant of ceramite and iron, a war machine from a forgotten age. Its hull marked with sigils of purity and prayer scrolls. Its arms ended in two great crushing claws that flexed and whined idly. Calder stared. Contemptor dreadnoughts were rare these days. The machine bore no heraldry and no colours. It was grey and bare of all ornamentation. The ancient war machine observed him with glowing optical sensors, but made no move towards him. "You are a new thing under the sun." He rumbled. "Have all the sons of dawn grown so in stature over the centuries of my isolation?" "No, we are a new breed. Or perhaps an old one. Depending." Calder pulled his hand away from his bolt pistol. "Who are you?" "Young Eamon told you. I am the Anchorite." "Your name?" I have no name. The man I was is dead. I am all that stands here, a humble bearer of words. Look, see. Lumens flickered to life, revealing the walls and the innumerable lines of script carved into them. Calder looked from the walls to the dreadnought. Bearer of words, he said flatly. A sudden anger pulsed in him. He thought he knew now why Eamon had been so reluctant to reveal this particular secret. A peculiar phrase. Bearer of words. So the secret buried deep within the world of Almace is a word bearer. We've always known of the link between Lorgar's worship of his father and the eventual founding of the Ecclesiarchy. But here, to find an actual word bearer. Calder obviously fumes, believing Eamon is a traitor, claiming he should execute them both, only for the dreadnought to put the Imperial fist in his place with the line, "Do you know what an Anchorite is, boy?" Calder knows he couldn't take the dreadnought on, so he listens. A man of faith, who confines himself to be closer to his god. And just who is your god? Calder asks. There is only one god in this universe, and he sits upon a throne of gold. So not only do we have a word bearer kept secret within this cardinal world, but the last true loyal bearer of the word, the Legion of Old. And man, just thinking about that gives me the feels. Sure, the Emperor didn't want them worshipping him, but here, 10,000 years after the heresy, we have a link to the Legion of Old, the word bearers of the Great Crusade, before Lorgar's fall to darkness. Calder's a bit taken aback by this, and there's a great line from the dreadnought. Theology was never your Legion's strong suit. Good at building, but not thinking, as Lorgar used to say. Roll on, Iron Warriors Week. This leads the dreadnought on to speak of Lorgar and his Legion. How none of them realised it was a test of faith, of devotion, even himself. Now, to me, this is clearly referencing the raising of Monarchia and the seeds of heresy that was planted that day. How dare he deny us, his truest sons? How dare he cast our work into the dust? And that only in the dark of Calth did it dawn on him how far his Legion was falling, that this wasn't just an eye for an eye. It was more than revenge. So I stopped. I set aside my blade and bent my knee. I waited for my cousins, for Guilliman's sons, to kill me, there in the dark. And they might have. But fate had other plans in store. They spared you, Calder said in disbelief. None of this made any sense. It was madness, and yet the evidence was before him. In a manner of speaking, the Anchorite made a sound that Calder was now certain was laughter. I was put in chains and interred in an oubliette, left to rot for the rest of the war. When my brothers broke themselves on the walls of terror, I sat in the dark and prayed for their souls. Things answered me, seeking to sway me from my penance. But I am no stranger to such spirits. The deserts of Colchis were thick with them. Like fleas on a cur's back, I banished them from me and continued my prayers. It's really quite an emotional encounter, and goes on to say how he's ended up trying to take his life throughout the years to receive absolution. Hence why he's ended up as a dreadnought. But why not let him die? Whether redeemed or not, this traitor, this single space marine of a fallen legion, what worth could there be in keeping him alive? And then it's revealed. The dreadnought, the Anchorite as he is known, has been one of the main voices guiding the Ecclesiarchy since the very beginning. So it's not just happenstance or coincidence that the cult of the Emperor grew worshipping him like Lorgar. The Ecclesiarchy literally was founded on the words of Lorgar, guided by one of his own sons. But we're not done there. Most intriguingly of all, we find out that Guilliman knew. How? How did any of this happen? Mercy, the Anchorite said. The future is always born in mercy, its givings or the lack of it. Guilliman spared me. I do not know why. Maybe he saw what I saw, that the way forward could not be built on a foundation of treachery and vengeance. Or maybe he trailed off, servos grinding as he turned away from Calder. I do not know. I know only that I persist, and in persisting, am driven to speak, to share what I learned that day. The Anchorite fell silent. Calder felt a peculiar flash of pity for the ancient warrior. He did not speak of you, he said. What? The Anchorite's head turned, gears protesting. Guilliman, he did not speak of you when I was assigned this task. Why? How should I know? Perhaps he has forgotten me. A dull rumble of mechanical laughter followed. That would be fitting, I think. A fair reward for one such as I. He has not forgotten you, Eamon said softly. Calder looked at him. Eamon cleared his throat. After our initial request for aid was ignored, I used a certain code sequence devised by the Primarch. When the Anchorite was first given into my ancestors' keeping, Eamon traced his fingers across one of the litanies scratched into the wall. He knew, even then, that the archenemy would come for their prodigal brother. Perhaps not for millennia, but eventually. He looked at Calder, his eyes wet with unshed tears. And now they have. He swallowed. I knew. The moment we were cut off, the moment contact with the other systems was lost, that the day had come around at last. So I sent a message, hoping that it would find him. Find you. Oh man, now that opens up so many questions. Why did Guilliman spare him? Why did he hand him over to the Ecclesiarchy? Why not just kill him and be done with it? Why go to the lengths of secret codes when you know they will come for him? And most importantly of all, does this explain some of Guilliman's conflict inside? Seeing how far the Imperium has fallen from the Imperial truth, and knowing it's his fault, that he is responsible for it. He has helped foster the worship of the Emperor, whether indirectly or not. Oh man, the answers that I need. The question I just can't understand is why? Why did Guilliman do it? To prove himself better than his traitor brothers by not killing this Marine? But then why give him to the church? Why not just enlist him within a nameless chapter, somewhere after the heresy, or keep him upon the crag? Man, I need these answers. That's a lot of information and theories to speculate on and assimilate. But as always guys, what do you think? Do you like the link to the bearers of the word of old? A last loyal son, still living in a sense within the Imperium? And what do you think Guilliman was up to? That is the question. As always, drop your thoughts in the comments below. I love to read them. A huge thank you to all my subscribers. Your support really means a lot to me. It truly does. And if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too? But with that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again real soon.